yourself. It doesn't have to be your whole biography that you did in the questions, but just a real brief, who you are, where you're from, and a little, maybe 1 or 2 sentences about your background, just so we can figure out who you are and who we're talking to. So I'm going to start. I don't know if your screens are the same as mine, but I'm just going to start with Danielle, if you don't mind. I can see your names, so I guess you guys can see your names too.
Okay, and my picture on here is frozen. I don't know if you can see me live. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Live.
All right. Hey. All right. So, yeah, my name's Danielle Fagan. Originally from the suburbs of Boston, Massachusetts. I now live just outside of Philadelphia. Played soccer, basketball all my life, and then I've mostly been a soccer coach. I dabbled in softball for 1 season, but I've coached soccer at all levels, from youth all the way through college. Played at Villanova University, and left corporate America. I was in corporate America for a little less than 10 years, and left there to start my soccer business in 2003, and I've been coaching soccer full-time ever since then. So that's the quick down and dirty of me.
Love it. Thanks. That's great.
You're welcome.
And Judy, I don't know if you're actually here. Are you here, Judy?
Yes. Oh,
okay. We can't see you, but if you want to just say hi.
Hi, I'm Judy. I'm on staff at PCA, and I've been on staff for almost 10 years now.
Okay, cool. And what do you do for PCA?
I'm the general accountant. I handle. You'll see my name when you're sending in trainer invoices and handle expense reports. So those are kind of the ways you'll probably interface with me in the future.
Yes, she's the one that pays us, so it pays to be nice to Judy. Thanks, Judy. I'm glad you jumped in. All right. Next in order, Mary Beth.
That's me. Hi, I'm Mary Beth. I go by MB, and I'm hanging out here from Mill Valley, California, but I'm originally a Philly native. Danielle, I went to Agnes Irwin just down the street. And
cool.
Villanova basketball camps. Currently, my 2 jobs, I would say, are chasing after my 3 children and coaching lacrosse and serving the Southern Marin lacrosse community as a coach and board member. And I'm so happy to be back in the folds of PCA.
Cool. So what did you do for PCA years ago? I saw that in your bio.
I was an account manager for 1.5 years, I think it was.
Okay.
Yeah. And we have an office in the Presidio, and I work with Sonia and Tina. I think those are the only 2 that are still with PCA.
Good. And David Jacobson, I think, because he's the one that sent me a note and said, I'm so glad she's going to be a trainer. That's awesome.
Yeah, and DJ was, well, of course, still there. Trying to think who else. And Dave Shapiro was my boss. I know he's moved on.
Yep. Cool.
Yeah.
Well, we're lucky to have you back.
So exciting to see the growth.
Oh, it is. It's much, much bigger now. Cool. All right. And I think Maureen next.
Okay. That's me. I'm Maureen Sanderson. I am originally from Connecticut and went to college in upstate New York and have lived in Minnesota since 2002. So when I was out east, I actually had a job with a software company, and I traveled around the country doing presentations for a foreign language software company. I had to demonstrate the software, and I loved traveling, and it was a ton of fun. Yet I didn't really have a passion for it and always wanted to coach. It just wasn't something that I could handle financially, given my family circumstances. So when we ended up in Minnesota and things changed a little bit, I was really excited to get into coaching. I've coached soccer, ice hockey, and lacrosse, and coached my kids. I've coached other people's kids, and I will be starting doing some college coaching coming up this year.
All right, thank you. Okay, Nigel, I think, is next. Can you hear us, Nigel? I don't think he can hear us.
He looks frozen.
He does look frozen. All right, we're going to come back to you, Nigel. He's in San Francisco. He can't be that frozen. All right, Reginald, how about you?
Oh, you skipped one, didn't you?
I did, but I think he's frozen. I don't think he can hear us.
No, you have another young lady there before me.
Oh, I do? On my line, you're next.
Okay. Well, I'm Reginald. I'm from originally from South Carolina, but I live in Katy, Texas, which is outside of Houston, Texas. My background is basically youth basketball coaching. I've been coaching for a few years, mostly volunteer here and there. My business background is healthcare operations, but my passion is coaching, and one day I hope to possibly do it full time.
All right, cool. And Tracy.
Hi, everybody. I'm Tracy. I live in Fort Collins, Colorado, and I'm a strength coach at Colorado State University. And I've been in collegiate coaching for, this is my 17th year. A lot of that was spent coaching swimming, which was my background as well. So I'm excited to learn a lot more about youth sports and kind of go, learn a lot from you guys. And then on top of that, I am also a professor. I do online teaching for, right now 3 different universities. So kind of have my hands in a little bit of everything. And I teach sport management classes, some coaching classes, and that kind of stuff.
That's great. And where are you now exactly? I'm just curious.
I'm in Fort Collins, Colorado. Oh, and where am I? I'm in the basketball arena.
Oh, okay.
It is. I share an office with 4 people, so this is the quietest place I could get right now.
No, it's great. I was just trying to figure out where you were.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Thank you. Nigel, I don't know if you can hear us yet. You're frozen standing now, so I don't know if that's a good sign or a bad sign. But you can chime in whenever you can get to us. All right. Let me just explain a little bit about why this course is the way it is for those of you that didn't kind of get the background. As I said, I try not to flood with a long email, which it's already guilty of. But let me just explain how the training system kind of came to this. Traditionally, for many, many years, we're a nonprofit. So we would go to an area and we would ask anybody that had any connections to sports that was interested in becoming a PCA trainer, has been to a workshop, if you'd like to come out and hear more about it, we'd like you to take up a whole weekend, usually 2 weekends in a row from a Friday to a Sunday, and learn this book inside and out. At the time, it was a workbook. And here's a PowerPoint presentation, and we want to hear all of your stories, and we want you to be great. So you prepare on your own and show up Friday night and spend Friday, Saturday, and Sunday with us in a hotel somewhere local. And at the end of the weekend, we will decide if you will be a certified trainer or not. That's sort of how the system went for many, many years. And that's kind of how I was trained as well. But what we found is there were probably, I don't know, maybe 10 to 15 people being invited to these weekends, and we would certify 2. And because, like most of us, we have lives and we're busy, and a lot of people, when you say, yeah, read the book, study it cover to cover, and come on Friday ready, when does everybody read the book?
Friday.
Thursday night.
Right, exactly. Thursday night. So we were getting a lot of people that just weren't prepared because they weren't kept accountable. So one of the things, being an educator, I decided to pitch my idea to spread it out over 6 weeks so that people have a chance to digest it and to think about it and to do it on their own time and not give up a whole weekend. I have 4 kids, and I understand how precious weekends are. And giving up a whole weekend to find out, sorry, you didn't make the cut, that didn't sit well with me. So what I decided to kind of implement was this type of a learning course. And as I said before, the only part that was missing was the face-to-face contact. So that's where we implemented these Google Hangouts. So I'm thrilled to see that so many of you already are getting a handle on the group chats and being able to read other people and respond. So far, everything seems to be going well with that. In terms of the structure of the course, pretty much that's how it's going to be. 2 questions are going to be posted on Tuesday. There's a chance on Thursday afternoon for a hangout. There's a chance on Monday evening for a hangout. We do have 2 people in this course from Hawaii, so they either have to get up at like 7 a.m. or their choices are a little different than the rest of us. But I do try to be flexible. Yeah, that's what I said. Wah, wah. I don't want to hear it. That's where I did offer to go to Hawaii for 2 full weekends and train. And they said, no, that's okay. Especially after the winter we had here on the East Coast. But so that's how we're doing it. Every time we do a course, I get evaluations back at the end, and I tweak it a little bit and change it a little bit. But the last 2, everyone has said they've really appreciated the fact that it is independent learning. You can put as much into it as you want to. Basically, the goal is for me to prepare you to go do a workshop live. So, it sounds cliche to say what you put into it is what you get out of it. We can tell people that are just kind of in it just to get through it, and then you go to present, and it's very flat, and it's not very engaging. And at that point, we would say, you know what, you just need some more work, you need some more practice. Or we would say, you know what, that was fantastic, we're going to match you up with a trainer, and you're going to present half the workshop next Tuesday with this person. Or we do have some people in some remote areas like Phoenix where there's not a lot of workshops going on that we have said, you are good to go, you are certified, good luck, because I cannot wait to get into one of your workshops. So those are sort of the 3 scenarios. Since we started doing this course, we've had an 87% success rate, which is a lot better than 2 out of 15. So we really do try to make it helpful for you. I don't want you to think in any way, shape, or form that every week that we do this, it's a test. It's not a pass or fail. This is all for you to learn and you to ask questions and you to just get better and better and better. So I do give feedback. I've gotten better over the last year of giving more critical feedback because I was told in the beginning that I was too easy on everybody. Because I think everything, you guys did a great job. It was almost great. Instead of saying, you know what, you would have lost the audience on that one. Sorry. Or that comment was a little off color. I think the most difficult balance for a lot of people is confidence and humility. It's a fine line between confidence and humility when you're presenting to coaches. Because if I were to ask you, what types of attitudes do coaches have coming into a Positive Coaching Alliance workshop, what would you say? Anybody can just call it out.
I would say knowledgeable.
Okay. Knowledgeable.
I think sometimes they come in thinking that they already do coach in a positive way and maybe they don't need to be at the workshop.
Yes. Yeah. That's a big one.
Arrogant.
Arrogant. Yes.
Yeah.
I call them the arm crossers. So we'll just sit in there like this, like, yeah, sorry, chick, you're not teaching me anything I don't already know. What else?
I answered the question thinking you were talking about the trainers, and now I understand you're talking about the audience.
Yes.
And I totally agree that there's this barrier sometimes you need to break through in the first 5 minutes so that the audience is receptive to the message.
So how do you do that?
You have to find that way to relate to the audience. So look around and see who's there. And I mean, I think if you look out there, if you're in Minnesota, you probably have 85% of the coaches are probably hockey coaches. So figure out how to connect with them so they say, oh, okay, she gets it. Or maybe, I don't know, out east maybe it's more basketball, soccer. But I just know that the ones I've been to in Minnesota have been primarily filled with hockey coaches.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Let me ask you this. When you go to I'm sure you guys have gone to a lot of coaching clinics, workshops, whatever it is. What makes you connect with the person that's speaking? What makes you sit up and take notice and say, okay, this is worth my time here. This is worth me spending 2 hours of a night when I've been up since 5 a.m., working all day, coaching all afternoon, probably had a game, didn't eat dinner, and now I have to come sit at a 2-hour PCA workshop. What would make you take notice and want to hear what the person has to say?
I think people or presenters that are really passionate about what they're presenting and not necessarily knowing everything or pretending like they know everything, but are passionate about it.
Okay.
Trainers knowledgeable.
Trainers knowledgeable? Yep.
I think the ability to connect with that person as well. So the trainer, the workshops I've been to, the trainer acknowledges, like, I'm sure this is the last place you want to be on a Tuesday night, but I'm going to make sure that you get something out of this, and I'm going to do my best to, get you out of here on time. People are always worried about going over. Mm-hmm. But then sharing personal stories and connecting with them on a human level.
Okay.
Yeah, relatable experiences.
Say that again, I'm sorry.
Relatable experiences.
Relatable experience. Yeah, absolutely. Nigel, can you hear us? I keep trying. We'll get him in here eventually. Yeah, so what I want to do is ask you real quick. I'm just going to have everybody go down the line. What is your why? Why are you doing this? Why do you want to be here? Because a lot of people have said, I just want to know why that person is here standing in front of me. And it sort of connects to your passion, sort of connects to your relatability and your knowledge, but it's more important. It's the why of why you're here. Does anybody want to share their why? Because I know you're not going to be a PCA trainer for the money because it's just not that great. And for years, people did it as volunteers. They didn't pay them anything. Now at least we pay you a little bit, and we pay $125 a workshop, and we reimburse for your mileage and things like that. But what is your why? Why are you taking the time out to do this?
I'll go first. One of my big reasons is just being a college coach. I see so many kids by the time they get to their freshman year in college, they're so burnt out, and they've been pressured so much and played, one sport their whole growing up since they were 6 and pressured by the parents that by the time they get to college, they're disinterested, and then a lot of times they quit, and it's so unfortunate. You want them to still be enjoying the game. So hopefully my experience as college coach can help, parents and youth coaches so that they're not burnt out by the time they get to college.
I love it. And I think that's so important because I sit in front of so many youth coaches that have a 6-year-old that say, okay, my son is going to get a D1 scholarship, and he is going to college because he's playing baseball all year round. He's pitching 115 games a year. He's this and he's that. And I sit there and think, really? At 6, you think he's going to make it to college? So I think that's a great perspective to have. You've seen the end, and now let's go backwards and figure out how we can get them to enjoy that part when they get to the end. Great. Thank you for sharing that. Anyone else? What's your why?
I will share that, just adding to what Tracy said, and I think, Kelly, your comment is that the youth players now, you're absolutely right, their parents are driving them in a direction that, from my own experience, seems very at odds with what kids should be doing, which is having fun and working hard and being physically active and learning the life lessons. And just as when I coach, I want to make a difference in a kid's life, I, as a coach, want to connect with other coaches and parents and be able to share my own experiences of why having a positive approach to coaching and to teams and all the things that PCA stands for is the right way and in a way that can be so much more rewarding for everyone involved.
Okay, thanks, Maureen. Anybody else?
I'll go next. So there's a lot of reasons for me, but the two that stand out the most are, I've been on the sidelines of many youth sports fields for about 20 years now, and I almost had enough that I almost walked away from coaching, listening to coaches scream at kids and scream at referees and parents, and the kids just walking away dejected, and I don't want them to have that experience anymore. And I think I can be, one of the people out there that can be one of the people on the tipping point, because it's got to go back in the other direction. It was never like that when I was growing up playing sports in the 70s and 80s, and there would be an incident here and there, but nothing like it's common now. And then the other part of it too is that I know, growing up as an athlete, that I got so much out of playing youth sports and high school and college, and it's really served me in my entire life, getting a job, interacting with people, how do you deal with adversity, like everything like that has just made a huge difference for me. And I'm really convinced that sports just make a difference for kids. Just unfortunately, it's making the wrong difference right now.
For some, yes, you're right.
Yes, for some, not for all. But
yep. Absolutely.
I agree with Danielle and Tracy as well, but in that sports has brought so much into my life, and I would like the opportunity to preserve that for the kids that I'm coaching. And one of my greatest joys is seeing my players develop a passion for the sport. And they're obviously not going to want to be professional women's lacrosse players, but they are taking those life lessons of working hard and bouncing back from mistakes and finding these relationships with their friends and their coaches. And I think that those are the kinds of things that a person needs to be successful in life. And to have the opportunity to cultivate that as a coach and a trainer is incredible.
Yeah, absolutely. Who did I miss? Reginald? Do you have a good why?
Well, I agree with them, as well as it provides you a good platform to be able to reach out to parents and coaches and players, and also gives you a good background and some information to help you kind of get your thoughts out there, because I've always thought along those lines, but I never quite had the formula or the words to put forward to the people like you all do.
We'll get to the words. Don't worry.
Yeah, and I've also seen many of bad situations and seen things go south, and I wish things could be better. And I figured, this is a way to help things to be better. To jump in there and start educating and training, and hopefully get rid of some of those terrible videos we see on YouTube, and watching people get escorted out of the games and kids never coming back to the sports in itself.
Thank you. Thank you. Nigel, at all? Nope. He's probably so frustrated listening to all of us going, I can't hear you. All right, Judy, did you want to share anything, or are you just listening in here?
My microphone. Do you hear me?
Is that Nigel?
I think so.
Microphone's not working.
Okay. Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. You're kind of in and out. All right, well, if you want to jump in, let us know. One of the things that I like that Reginald said, which is so important to bring up at the workshops, is the idea that we are here to educate. And one of the things that I like to say to my workshop, especially because most of them are, I would say, 50% of the ones you do are youth coaches. Especially in the beginning, it's going to be more like 90% are youth coaches. And one of the questions I always like to ask is, how many of you are trained teachers? And in a room of, last night I just did a workshop, and there were 30 youth baseball coaches. And I said, how many of you are trained teachers? And 2 hands went up. And I thought, that's great. Congratulations. You're trained to educate these kids. How many of you are spending every afternoon in front of 5 to 12-year-olds for 2 hours and have no educational background? And 25 hands went up. And I think the key is that we are here to educate. And when people hear positive coaching, what do you think is the first thing on their mind when they think, oh, great, positive coaching? This is just what I need to hear. What do you think their assumption is about positive coaching?
Everyone wins.
Exactly.
Yeah. And it's all about making people feel good.
Yeah.
All the time.
Getting a trophy. Everybody wins. It's soft. Yoo-hoo! Everybody's great. Everybody's fantastic. So right off the bat, I nip that in the bud, because I have not yet met a coach that's not competitive and doesn't want to win. Because if you find a coach that's not competitive and doesn't want to win, then they definitely should not be coaching. So even though we try to say, you've heard so many times, winning is not important, it's how you play. I bust that myth right away, because if any of you have ever played a sport, winning is important. Winning is okay. That's why we're doing it. So one of the things that got me, my why for PCA, was I sat there with the attitude, the coach that didn't want to hear it, the parent that didn't want to hear it, because I was a teacher at the time, and all competition had been taken out of schools, I was finding. It was the early 90s. We weren't allowed to play dodgeball. I wasn't allowed to do math games that had a winner and a loser. Everybody got participation trophies in the spelling bee, and I'm like here, like the most competitive person you can find, and I have kids crying because they got knocked out in a game of knockout that we did at recess. And I was like, whoa, what is going on here? And then I was finding that, out at recess, the kids were trading Pokemon cards. They weren't playing sports because there wasn't an official, and there weren't refs, and there weren't coaches. And I said to myself, whoa, like what's going on? So I decided I had to coach. I had to coach young kids at that time. And when I got into coaching, we don't keep score. It's just about fun. We're just trying to teach fundamentals. And I was like, something's just not right here, because these kids have to learn to compete. So when I went to a Positive Coaching Alliance workshop, and the very first thing the trainer said was, how many of you like to win? And, of course, every hand in the room went up. And he said, positive coaching is about performance. It's about getting the best performance out of your athletes using research-based proven methods for motivating your students and your athletes, your kids that you're coaching. And I perked up right. I mean, that was all the why I needed to go, oh, God, finally, thank you. Somebody's going to teach us how to win. Somebody's going to teach us how to motivate the kids. And the part that I liked was because I was an educator. I love the research behind it. I love its character development, which is great. But these people are also inundated with that. It's performance-based and it's research-based, and a lot of the things we talk about are non-controversial. One of the other things that I bring up right away is this. How do most of us coach? What do we base our coaching practices on? Who taught you how to coach, I guess is my question.
It's the way you were coached.
Right. It's the way you were coached. So it was either a positive way and you're going to do the same thing, or it was a negative way and you're going to do the opposite. But most of us, the default is to coach the way we were coached. And I heard actually somebody last night say, how many of you are still using a rotary phone? How many of you are still using, the old flip phone, cell phone, the one that flips up and, you have to, and it's this big and it has an antenna to pull up? Nobody does, because the technology has improved. Well, in coaching, it's the same thing. We all think back to our coaches that we had when we were kids, and we think, oh, it's okay to yell a little bit. It's okay to give a little tough love. It's okay to motivate, because that worked for me. But what we found is, yeah, that works for some kids. But we're going to give you some methods that work for every kid. And it's something that they can be held accountable for, and it's proven, and they will improve their skills, which will in turn help you win more games. Sound good? And I've never had somebody stand up and go, nope, I don't want to do that. Sorry, that doesn't work for me. I'd like to stick with my losing record, and let's just be happy and count daisies and not keep score. Never has anyone said that. So I think right off the bat, because a lot of people that just in social events I run into, and I say, oh yeah, I'm a trainer for Positive Coaching Alliance. And they're like, oh yeah, you would be. You're such a positive person. I'm like, yeah, but it's not about that. And then I fight back. I'm like, no, it's not about that. It's not about that. So I think it's almost a misnomer, just positive coaching, because there's so much more involved in that. And right off the bat, I think it's important to set a tone with the people that you're talking to. So as we go through, we're going to get into each of the principles, and I'm going to hone in on that. That's like my go-to. Don't forget that this is about performance, and don't forget that this is about motivating your athletes, because you're going to get the whole gamut. As you said, you're going to get the arm crossers, you're going to get the people that have coached for 40 plus years and are there going, I could teach you a few things, lady. And I say, great, bring it on. I want to hear it. And then you've got the people that say, I just got a phone call last night saying, if I don't coach, my kid can't play. So I've never coached before, and here I am. Teach me how to coach. So when you're in a workshop and you've got this whole spectrum of people, there's got to be one common thread. And I found the one common thread is everyone wants success and everyone wants to win. So that's what works for me, and I don't know if that'll work for you, but that's something that we do a lot of. So what I'm going to do, these calls are usually about an hour long, and today I don't want to cut it short. I mean, I don't want to go over, obviously. But what I wanted to do was just kind of do an intro real quick, get to meet all of you, and then I wanted to see if you guys just have any questions. I wanted to leave it open for Q&A. If you guys have questions about Positive Coaching Alliance, about being a trainer, about how the whole system works, about anything that you have, rather than me, asking you to send me your questions and I'll email back to you. I thought this is kind of a better forum. If you guys, anything you want to know that we can get out, nip it in the bud right now or talk about, I'm going to leave the floor open to you. And then at the end, if we have some time, I can get into a couple more things. So the floor is yours. Does anybody have any, no stupid questions? I mean, stupid questions are welcome. You know it all.
Okay, so Kelly, we complete our course with you.
Yes.
We're going to hang out. And then, and assuming we all are fantastic.
Of course.
What happens after that?
Okay, so after the last week of the course is where you would assign a time, and Mary Beth, you would give a workshop, a 20-minute sample of the workshop. So let's say, for example, you would present the principle of the emotional tank. So myself, Ruben Nieves, or Eric Eisendrath were the lead trainers. We would be on the call, and we would watch you present. And you would do it as realistically as possible. And you can tell us, I want you to be soccer coaches. I want you to be basketball coaches. And you would be as, it's funny because I've had people stand up on the call because that's the way they are on camera, whatever you need to do. And that's, so after that, somebody just texted me. Sorry, it's probably Nigel trying to figure out how to get his microphone working. After that, we would decide, to keep it very simple, we give you a red, yellow, or green rating. Red meaning, no, I'm sorry, you need more practice, you need more work. Yellow meaning, you know what, you're almost there, we feel pretty comfortable, but we're not ready for you to go up in front of a live audience yet, we'd like to see more. And green is, yeah, you know what, she's ready to go, let's match her up with a trainer. And then we would send you out to your local area to co-present a workshop. So you might just present the portion on honoring the game, or you would just present the portion on Elm Tree of Mastery. You would take probably like a 20-minute to a half-hour section, and you would present with a veteran trainer. And then if that goes well, then that trainer can decide, yes, you're certified, you're ready to go out and do it on your own, or we think you need a little bit more practice co-presenting with someone else. So that's the simplest way to go about it. It's not very, it's cut and dry. It's a system, but everybody's different.
And if you green light go and you're, top notch, how do you become certified for other workshops to present the other types of workshops that PCA offers?
Okay, good question. So a lot of it's based on need in your area. You're out in San Francisco area, so there's always a need for everything because there's so many workshops going on out there. What I do is I certify for Double Goal Coach 1, which is the basic workshop. Once you know all the ins and outs of the Double Goal Coach workshop, it's very easy to pick up the other ones because every other workshop is based on the same 3 principles. It's just through the eyes of a parent or through the eyes of an athlete. So we really feel like Double Goal Coach 1 is a great foundation, and all the tools and the presenting ideas and the questioning and all that is so foundational that if we find that you've been doing the coaches workshops for a couple months and you seem pretty great, and in your area we have a need for more trainers to do the parent ones, then you will work. I work with like kind of the middle of the country. Eric Eisendrath works with the East Coast, and Ruben works with the West Coast, and we will meet with you and train you to do the other workshops. So is everybody familiar with all the other workshops that we do?
No.
Okay, we do Double Goal Coach is for youth coaches, or we do one called Developing Competitors for high school coaches. Those are the 2 coaches workshops that we do. We also do one called Positive Motivation, which is brand new. Positive Motivation is one that really focuses on more of like the e-tank idea, and that comes after they've already done the basic coaching workshop. We also have a Double Goal Coach 2 workshop, which is sort of the second level, which is culture, practice, and games, which is helping coaches really put a practice plan together based on the culture of the team they'd like to have or change. And then the third one is called Double Goal Coach 3, which is coaching the mental game. And that one is a great one to do for higher level teams, travel teams, college level, that type of a thing. We did do one time for like a youth baseball team, and they're not quite there into visualization and catastrophization yet. But so that's the coaches workshops, and then we do a parent workshop. We have a 2-hour parent workshop, and we have a 30-minute parent workshop. Now, as you can imagine, you'll be doing many more 30-minute parent workshops than 2-hour parent workshops, but the 2-hour one is fantastic. And then for the athletes, we have it's called the Triple Impact Competitor Athlete Workshop, and that is traditionally for high school students. We have done a few of them lately for middle school, and I actually just did one down in Tampa for 5- and 6-year-olds, which was fun. Doing Triple Impact Competitor, I had 200 5- and 6-year-olds in the Tampa Bay Race Stadium doing athlete workshop for 15 minutes in each group. So that is something that I've been trying to pitch for a long time, being an elementary teacher. I just think if you can tell the kids, get this message to them young, it's great, but not every one of you wants to be in a room with 200 5- and 6-year-olds. So those are pretty much our workshops that we do. And as I said, it is based on need in the area. Cleveland's one of our newest areas, and we have everybody trained in Double Goal Coach 1, and now we're kind of panicking because the athlete workshops are coming up, and we need to get people trained with the athlete workshops. So does that answer your question?
Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else?
Okay, my mic.
I can see you kind of talking, but I can't really hear you.
I
Sorry,
can
Nigel.
see you. Hello.
Okay. Did you have a question, Reginald?
No, I was telling Nigel hello. I can see him.
Oh, okay.
Well, we can't hear him. Can't hear you.
I'll get it fixed.
Sometimes my computer doesn't work unless I have my headphones on. That's why I always put the headphones in. So if you have that, maybe that might work. All right.
Yeah,
You guys are good to go. This is great. The last group, I had like 5 minutes for questions at the end, and they kept going and going and going. So I thought you guys would have more questions for me. But you're good. Has anyone not been to a workshop yet?
I have not.
Okay. That's the one thing that I suggest that you do.
Okay.
When I assign the announcements every week I'll try to put in another video. This week I did the Joe Ehrman video or the Jim Thompson video of the TED Talk. I try to put those in because those are resources that we use for the workshops. The coaching workshop that we do is standard. We do have a baseball version and we have a soccer version. It's the same exact workshop. We just cut out the pictures of all the sports. We have one for all sports, and then we've had such a request. So we have one that's specifically just soccer pictures and one specifically just baseball and softball pictures, but the content is the same. As you become more comfortable, there's a whole file of videos that if you seem to resonate with Joe Ehrman, or you seem to resonate with Shane Battier, or Dusty Baker, or Doc Rivers, or somebody that you really find works for your style, you can add in some other videos to it and add in a little bit more of your own material. We don't want you to rewrite it, but some people have. I have somebody that we just certified who's got a PhD in sports psychology. So she added in a video that she had of Carol Dweck, who's one of our National Advisory Board members, that just seemed to fit perfectly. So we give you a little bit of flexibility with that, but I can see your chat, yes. We can see it. Yeah, there is a chat usually that comes up over on the side, too. Let me see if I can get it back. Oh, no, that's not what I want. And you can chat along with it.
Oh.
Yeah, did you see that? There we go. So there's a chat over there. Can you guys see that all on the side?
Yeah.
No.
So that's kind of a cool thing. You can't see it? All right. It is, yes.
Oh, okay.
The funny thing is when you're trying to present something and people are chatting, it's really hard. Not for me, but like when you're going to do a presentation and everybody's chatting over on the sides, like, hey, what are you doing later? You want to go out? And I'm like, this doesn't work. Or, Kelly, stop touching your head or whatever it is. I'm like, But anyway, so that is a great thing to do. Get out and see a workshop if you can. If you don't know the local. We have an executive director of every chapter, and we have a partner manager of every chapter. So if you don't know who that person is in your local area, let me know, and I will get you connected to them. I have given every executive director, and partner managers are the salespeople. The executive directors are kind of the boss of the local area. I have given them each of your names and email addresses and phone numbers so that they can reach out to you and invite you to a workshop or invite you to go out to lunch just to talk to them to find out what's happening in the local area. But I would say as much as you can, get out to see as many different trainers as possible because everyone does it a little bit differently, and you will too. So, all right, questions. You guys are awesome. All right, cool. Well, I'm actually going to, if you guys don't have any questions, I'm not going to get into the next topic because next week we're going to really start digging into your introduction and that we're going to talk about the SMAC recipe. Was everyone ever able to open that? Some people said they were having trouble opening it. That SMAC recipe is something we've adopted from Jim Collins' book, Good to Great, and it's systematical, methodical, and consistent. And what it is just basically a plan. If every single trainer can hit every one of those points, it's going to be a great workshop. So we're going to go over that a little bit. I had one of our directors, his name is Jeff Dale. He came up with a system of 5 things that every trainer should have. And the neat thing is I have so many people that come up to me and say, oh, you're in charge of training. What does it take to be a PCA trainer? What kind of person would make a great PCA trainer? Because a lot of people are always looking for like, oh, I have a friend that's a coach or I have a friend that's a teacher. And my answer to that has completely changed in the last year. Because I don't think there is one thing that makes everybody a great trader besides passion. You have to have a passion for the mission, but all the other things, a lot of it, are teachable. You can teach presentation skills. You can teach how to engage the audience. But it's just kind of, this sounds really terrible, but I was watching American Idol with my daughters last night, and the judges kept saying, it's that it factor. It's that, you can't put your finger on it, but when you see somebody has passion for something and they're genuine and they're true to what they're doing, that is something that will come across. And that's what we're looking for. Because PCA is a nonprofit. I always say this at my workshops too. How many of you saw our commercial on this during the Super Bowl in January? And I always get hands that go up. It cracks me up. And I'm like, you didn't, because there is none. Because we are a nonprofit. We are growing so fast because what we're sharing with coaches is working. And it's not because we have a huge budget to be able to do commercials during the Super Bowl. It's word of mouth. And there's nothing worse, and I don't tell this to the group, but just to you guys, if you go out to a workshop for any organization and it's bad, you're not going to tell anybody about it. So we are very picky about who we send out there. We're very picky that the confidence doesn't come across as arrogance. We're very picky about the fact that if you're not interested, if you're not having fun at a workshop, if you're not laughing and enjoying yourself, you're not going to remember it. And if I've had new trainers that have gotten up there and just said, you know how bad it is, and told every bad parenting, coaching, and athlete story that they could think of for 15 minutes. And they thought that was a good way to start their workshop. And I sat there and went, oh my gosh, now I'm so depressed I don't even want to listen to what you're saying. So, there's a certain attitude that you have to have in your presentation, but it's not the same for everybody. So I'm going to hopefully pull that out of you guys. I want you to use your own personality and your own style. But if there's a workshop in your area, get out and see it. Or if you want a list of where they are, let me know because I have access to all of them too. I'd be happy to hook you up with those. So that is all I have. And the other thing that people love going to a workshop is when you end early, because that's even better than ending on time. So I always say to people, I try to end my workshops 5 minutes early because then everyone's like, oh, this is great, let's go. So I'm going to end there if nobody has any questions. If anybody has anything else and you want to hang on for a couple minutes, I'll be happy to stay on. But if not, guys, I appreciate it, and I will. I'll see y'all next week, and I'll post the questions on Tuesday morning.
Okay. Thank you, Kelly.
All right. Thank you.
Bye, guys. Bye, everybody.
Have a good week.
Thanks.